Good evening. It's Wednesday, March 16th, 2022 at 6 p.m. Calling the Lakeville Board of Health meeting to order. Is there anyone recording this other than LakeCAM? I see no one for the record. First on the agenda, Puff and Pie Thai Cuisine, new mobile food truck located at 78 Main Street, pending health agent inspections for approval. I believe that was done today, Ed?
Yeah, the inspections were done yesterday. Everything checks out. Both they had their residential kitchen, a kitchen outside, and then their truck as well. Both were inspected. Everything, paperwork's all set. Everything's good to go.
Okay. And there's nobody here to speak on behalf of that one? Any comments?
I was interested in what they were gonna have.
They have about 4 things on the menu. It's rather limited, but.
And they have another place, correct?
They cook in one place and they sell in one, but I think they only sell out of the one at Star Liquors.
Okay.
I'll look at it later.
All right. I have no questions or comments on that, Bob.
Me either.
Chris?
Is it 2 kitchens or 1? So is it?
There's one mobile kitchen at the parking lot in Star Liquors.
Okay, so it's just be 1 permit?
Yeah, correct, for us. Yeah, they have a kitchen they use, but that's outside of Lakeville.
Okay.
And the inspection's been done, so they're good to, once approval.
Doesn't another truck set up in that parking lot sometimes too?
Yeah, Winging It is also in that parking lot as well. So
That's gonna turn into the food court of Lakeville with all the trucks?
I don't know.
This will be our 4th food truck in town, right?
Yes, there's one at Mucky's.
I'm all for food trucks, I don't care.
All right, I'm good with this one.
I'm good too.
And I'll make a motion that we approve the permit for Puff and Pie Thai Cuisine.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. Next on the agenda, 15 Morrison Way. Meet with Jeff Cornell to discuss 1-bedroom deed restriction. How you doing?
Good.
You must be Jeff?
I am Jeff Cornell.
All right, nice to meet you. Want to comment on anything on the deed restriction?
It got brought to my attention about a year ago that I didn't realize it when I bought it, I don't know, for whatever reason, that I had a deed restriction. And I did some research and, cause my house has been assessed at a 2-bedroom house since I bought the house. And,
The assessors.
yeah, and some of the paperwork that I've come across, like the Title V, it says actual bedrooms 2. And, I'm just trying to get what I've been paying taxes on and what it actually is, a 2-bedroom house. Not actually is, but what it is, you know?
Okay. Probably I'll turn it over to Ed just for an update on this one. I know we've looked into it.
Yeah, so
Past.
we did do some research on it, and as he said, there are times where it was 2 bedrooms and there were times where it was 1 bedroom. What I've gathered is it was originally built as a 1-bedroom, and then in 1984, they put an addition on that made it a 2-bedroom. It appears that a building permit wasn't pulled at that time, so it wasn't officially going to a 2-bedroom, but there were actually 2 bedrooms. The assessors did go out at a later time and verify that it was a 2-bedroom at the time. But when they redid their septic back in 2003, the engineer had a 1-bedroom on there. So what the Board of Health did was they were presented with a 1-bedroom, so they put on a 1-bedroom deed restriction. So, you know, that's what they thought it was. But in actuality, because it was actually 2, but although there wasn't a clear record of it then, that it was a 2-bedroom, but it was a 2-bedroom for a period of time now, yeah.
It was a 2-bedroom because they illegally built a bedroom? Or did they pull a permit to build that bedroom and just not call it a bedroom?
I think that's what it was, because they have a permit. I don't have it on me, but I looked at the file. I don't want to say his name, but someone pulled a permit for an addition.
I don't want to say it's illegal because I don't know that. We didn't have a record in the building file.
Okay.
You did.
We did not.
There is a permit on file.
Did the building department?
Yes.
Oh, they did?
I have it in my phone. I think it was 1984, right?
Yeah, the assessors have it from 1984. So the assessors had a record. I couldn't find one in the building for some reason, but the assessors did have the record. So the assessors has it as 2-bedroom, but I think for the Board of Health and maybe building, they had it as 1.
And on this one, Bob, also, it was a cesspool in 84.
Yeah.
I mean, this tank wasn't put in 2003. So at that time, I mean, I think they should have went in and counted the bedrooms because we had nothing on file. What was there? There was no previous system. And even the assessors at the time had a 2-bedroom in 2003.
Okay.
For some reason, the engineer submitted a
Wrong.
1-bedroom plan. And this is just a tight tank too. This isn't even.
It's rated for
leaching
6.
field.
It's a 4,000 gallon tight tank system.
2,000, you have the plan. It's
Yeah.
2 2,000-gallon tanks in a tight tank. So I just, we even look back in the meeting minutes and we can't find out. It was just submitted that way and
Yeah.
the board approved it that way. Why it was, we don't know.
I mean, I've throughout the house, because I've done some repairs, I'll give you a perfect example. First 2 weeks I bought the house, I had my insurance company ask for the stove permit for the wood stove that was already in. I called Nate, he said, what wood stove permit?
Yeah.
So I went over there and said, hey, I'm Jeff Cornell, how do I solve this? And he goes, you gotta pull a permit, it's already there, but let's work together. So that's what I'm trying to do now, is trying to work this together, is basically.
We just want it to be amended, that's all.
Amended what
reflect
it assessed at, which is a 2-bedroom.
So currently it's been,
I can add something if you want. Darren McHale's.
you might just, you want to come up to the microphone? They just can't hear you for some reason tonight without the microphones. Thank you.
Darren McHale's from Foresight Engineering, but I did work for Azor at that time. I can say I never walked in the house, but if I was to guess on why it was deeded as a 1-bedroom, it would probably be because of the Board of Health at that time, because there was no records, and it's a 10,000 square foot lot, and it has a well, and you're only allowed 1 bedroom per 10,000 square feet. So why not limit it to what Title V says? I do agree with them, however, that the tank can handle up to 4 bedrooms of maximum capacity as a tight tank minimum. I see no reason why, if it is a 2, that it would affect how the system functions. He has 2 tanks that he pumps regularly, so
Okay.
that's really all I have to add.
And then on that, I mean, it's a tight tank, so does that 10,000 even,
It's 4,000.
right, but I mean, the loading, your argument.
Yeah, because you're not, yeah, again,
You
you're
don't even have
not.
a system, it's a
Right,
tight
but we
tank.
had no design on record and we had no building permits, we had nothing to go by, and if, I can't remember right offhand, but if I had to guess, it was probably enforcement of the health agent at the time that, no, we're just gonna give you a 1-bedroom, that was it, and there was no complaint from the seller at the time. So
No.
if someone like my client had said, I want the 2 bedrooms, we would obviously ask for the 2 bedrooms at that time.
Okay, now back then, they didn't allow tight tanks for year-round use, so was this
Correct. So,
seasonal?
nope, this was deeded, this was allowed a year round, so that's
Even
why it
though
was
they didn't
kind of
allow
a
it,
variance, right?
They allowed it.
They allowed it, yeah.
That was changed
Yeah,
further
because
on.
we just couldn't fit a system where the well was, where that well is located on his
37 feet
property is
away.
dead center.
38, I
It's-
think, or
38,
37.
yeah, it's a point.
Yeah, it's in the worst spot in the world. And even if you move the well, we all know what happens down there. It's gonna be a raised mountain.
Yeah.
So it would take up his entire lot too. So I remember all those concerns when we originally designed it, so. I know that came into play and that's why we decided on the tight tanks.
So yeah, the deed does say the property shall remain a year-round, 1-bedroom dwelling with no further expansion and no increase in flow of the septic.
Because that's the deed.
I wonder if that was the, maybe a bargain. We'll give you the tight tank, but you gotta keep it 1-bedroom because they weren't allowing
Yeah, that was-
year-round.
That was so long ago,
Back
I
then?
wouldn't know.
Yeah,
I wasn't the
back
boss
then.
then, so.
But
I
it
didn't have
was a
say.
2-bedroom at the time.
Yes, it was, because it says on
Assessors had
It was, but I probably, the assessors might not have had it as 2, but I can say that I never walked in the property, so I couldn't honestly say
No,
if it
it
was
has.
2.
It's- but we've
now
done
it
all my
does.
research.
It
It's always
definitely
been-
has 2 bedrooms, it's assessed as 2, and that's why when I did my inspection, I think 8 years ago, it says 2 bedrooms actual.
There's also a Title V that says it's 2 bedrooms.
Yeah, there's definitely 2 bedrooms in the house. So
What year was that?
relating on that as to what the deed restriction says, there's no increase in flow. I mean,
When I
there's
bought the
already
house
2
8 years
bedrooms,
ago.
you're not really increasing flow.
9 years ago when I bought the house.
2003, the tanks were installed.
Okay.
He's talking about the Title V.
Yeah, Title V I did. in
When I
14.
bought the house.
Yeah. So, I mean, the increase in flow is debatable on whether are you actually increasing flow, because there's always been 2 bedrooms, it was just incorrectly deeded. That would be the decision of the board, I guess. Because I don't see it as affecting the tank usage, it's still a two-bedroom, he's not adding anything to
Yeah, I
it.
don't see and Title V doesn't even really clarify on tight tanks, how many bedrooms. It's
Right.
not in there.
Correct, we just have to be 500% the floor,
Board
yep.
to decide what.
But,
But
yeah, but on
year-round,
the flip
too.
side though, and not on this particular house, but if we just start saying, well, if you have a tight tank that's rated for 4 bedrooms, you could start having 4 bedrooms, everybody down there's gonna start putting additions on, I mean, so.
But no,
just
then you're
because-
giving an addition, you're allowing, if this is already an
is already
existing addition
pre-existing.
from 1984, it just wasn't documented correctly. Because if the assessor said 1, that's what
But
we
you
would
said
have
you have a
designed.
building permit though, right, that they couldn't find? Do you have a copy of the building permit when
He's
they put
got-
the addition on?
I have it on my phone.
Yeah, we wouldn't have pulled
The
that
old one?
to do a septic repair.
Yeah, what's his face is Roderick, I don't know. Hold on. I
Yeah,
gotta-
I mean, if it was a legal addition, then I don't care. But you said you and they couldn't find a building permit for the addition?
Well, they didn't look.
It's L, that's where you met, I'm sorry. They changed my road name 8 years ago, that's why I ran into.
To Holly.
It's under 15 Holly Road.
Yes.
If you look it up, that's, I have it on my,
Yeah.
but what it is, Ray Morrison, I guess, has given so much to Churchill Shores that they renamed when we bought it, it was already there, but the original, when he did the permit, was Holly Road.
Okay.
That's where I ran into problems, because they have 2 sets of permits.
Yeah,
15 Morrison Way, 15 Holly Road.
yeah, if that's a legal addition, I don't care, because that was before.
And this was even before Title V.
So you got a
Yeah,
copy on your
yeah,
phone?
exactly, that's what
You
I'm
got a picture
saying.
of it on your
I don't care
phone?
what it- yeah.
Hold on, give me a second, I'm not tech savvy.
No, they
Do you
can-
have it, Melissa?
Or if you could
Can I
email
ask
us,
my wife, she's more tech savvy than I am on
Oh,
the phone.
yeah, go ahead.
or just the email.
Our
it to us.
email.
Yeah, I mean, I don't,
Building
like you said, it's
permits, hold on.
prior to Title V.
Yeah,
I just don't know what,
hold
like
on.
Darren would have been involved with it.
I could tell you how to build
That
a
was the
concrete
biggest
wall,
part
but,
of that.
yeah.
hold on.
But even
But
in
why
Title
do-
V septic systems, you're supposed to design for 3.
Someone did submit a plan though.
But back then you
We just
couldn't,
didn't get it from Bill.
back then you couldn't have a tight tank.
Correct. That was.
So that's like he was saying, it could have been a compromise at the time, we'll let you do a tight tank,
What's
but
that?
you gotta keep
thought this
it
was
ready.
his.
No, I got this from the
So-
assessors.
Oh,
This
is from the
Holly
assessor.
Road. Here it
I
is.
didn't know that. I thought it was a sketch thing.
No,
He gave
no,
us the-
no, he didn't provide this. This is what I dug up.
Hold on.
Yeah, and I just don't know why you needed
Depends on the date.
a 1
Here
bedroom,
it is, guys.
4,000 gallons with a 2-bedroom house there.
Yeah, but, I
But
mean,
they
I
didn't
I
allow
wasn't
them,
even there
so-
then, but like he said though,
But if we were to
it-
put in
they,
a septic system, it would only be for a 1 bedroom.
yeah, but,
Unless they fought for the 2 because it only has 7,000 square feet, we don't
Yeah.
have enough square.
but back then tight tanks weren't allowed to have a year-round house, seasonal you
But he
did.
had a well. and a
Sure.
septic, that's
I mean,
why.
let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, you wanna
I
send
have-
it to-
So that's
My
why
phone's
I'm just,
horrible.
we don't know all the facts, because like he said, maybe that was a compromise. Well, it's year-round, but you gotta keep it 1 bedroom,
Yeah.
So here's
and you can keep a
15
tight
Holly
tank.
Road. Oh my God. Here it is. 15 Holly Road.
Application, okay.
Yeah.
Septic.
Oh, wait a minute.
Because I have that one
Yeah,
here.
we have the septic.
Hold on.
That's all right too.
Yeah. This one's done. Yeah, and again,
Look it up.
In fairness, I mean, we don't have a lot of records dating back to 1984.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I don't want to say it's illegal. I didn't misspoke that. I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of missing records back
Yeah.
then.
and it was before Title V in
Yeah.
89, 88.
But for some reason, they put that restriction and they let them have a tight tank when tight tanks were not legal for year-round houses. So, like Chris said, maybe it was a compromise at that time that they said, well, you can leave it, we'll let you have it year-round on a tight tank, but you gotta leave it 1 bedroom. I mean, we don't have,
But the thing is, you can't,
It
But the thing is
was,
that
they made it.
well, it was, and then they added a bedroom, but we don't know.
That was prior, that was 84.
yeah.
Oh,
We're
we
talking
didn't have
2000.
a bedroom.
No, you didn't, no, the other people.
Yeah,
whoever you bought it from
1984, I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they knew that because there was a record on it. I mean, that's the only way they'd know there was a bedroom added. There was a
Yeah.
record on it.
Which is weird.
Right,
The
you wouldn't
assessors.
know they added a bedroom in 84 if we didn't have a record on it.
Yeah,
So someone submitted
So
this.
someone-
And the assessors had it.
yeah.
Like I said, we didn't find this in building.
Here we go.
But the fact that someone made a plan and drew it out and everything, maybe they did.
And Larry signed the septic app, so I'm like, he would have We know how he would have handled it.
Well, it's kind of what Darren said
I
too.
believe at the time, this was somewhat of a compromise, that the whole well was gonna have to be moved, and then a $30,000 septic system.
Yeah.
Versus let me put a tight tank in and all.
And leave it a one
And I
bedroom,
think-
or make it a
I
one
would have to
bedroom,
say
whatever it
the
was.
assessors probably only had it as a one bedroom at the time. Like,
Yeah.
Why would we have called it a one bedroom
Yeah,
if that's what the assessors had it as? Is that what you guys went by in the Board of Health records, there's no records?
yeah.
But we pulled the assessment with the prior owners listed, and it is listed as
It's
a
a
two-bedroom.
two-bedroom, I have that.
It's still listed as a two-bedroom.
Just to get some clarification, I did bring, so I showed Ed some photos, I had some printouts done of what the house used to look like.
Oh, I'm not doubting this there, but can you see the point Chris made, that when that got approved to have a tight tank for year-round, it wasn't legal to give somebody a tight tank for year-round. It just recently became legal. So we don't know if there was a compromise made that said, we'll let you keep a tight tank for year-round use as long as you only have a one
But
bedroom.
my point is that I've
As
been
opposed to a
assessed that and I've been paying
$30,000
taxes on
Yeah.
a two-bedroom house.
Yeah,
So, I mean, there's gotta be some compromise
And
there.
and the other thing is, you're not allowed to build a one-bedroom septic.
no, yeah,
It's not even in
yeah,
Title V, that's why I don't even know why they forced it on a one bedroom.
Yeah.
You're supposed to design for 3, you can deed restriction to 2, that's it,
Yeah.
that's what's in Title
It doesn't
V.
say that.
This
It
is why I
doesn't
wanted
say
those
you
minutes,
can't do
but
one.
well, there.
You can do a 1,
It doesn't say you can't.
doesn't say you can't, but it doesn't say,
It just says 3 minimum deed restriction.
For two,
it
and
says
end of
nothing
story.
about one. So like I say, I think we were forced at that
it was
time.
a gray area.
Yeah.
You'd have to pull out the minutes with the exact argument that I probably had, because
We-
I'm sure I could.
We looked into
Over
that.
easy to take a one bedroom as
Yeah.
a year round, I would be convinced that it was the agent at the time that was really stuck, and that was the only way we were gonna get this through. Without having to put in a whole new well
I
and
wonder
entire new
if we
system.
searched the minutes archive for
Yeah.
Holly. For Holly.
There was no, we don't have the minutes for that meeting.
Okay,
We
so
have
we already
nothing for
saw
that
that.
meeting. It wasn't just for this thing, that entire meeting there was.
Yeah, I looked into that.
I mean,
Too many
I'm-
kids ago for me.
I don't think it's gonna, at least from my standpoint, I don't see where it's gonna affect anything. It's,
Yeah.
now we allow tight tanks for year round, it's been approved by the board, they have 4,000 gallons.
yeah, but, and again, I don't, my argument isn't against you, and I'm not arguing against you, and I'm probably gonna vote for you, but I'm just,
I understand what
I'm
you're trying to say.
looking at this though saying, okay, well, now they allow tight tanks. Are we gonna have open season for everybody to come down there and say, I'll put a bigger tight tank and I wanna start adding bedrooms?
So, but he had the bedroom. I think that's his case.
Yeah,
That's, I already
Yeah.
had the,
That-
I
the
agree
bedroom
with
was
you on the
there.
argument. Correct, he's not,
And it's not
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
designed, this is all.
not new.
I'm not asking for
I
anything
see what
that
you're saying, though.
I
You
know
don't want
exactly what you're
trends
trying to say.
start.
Oh,
That's what
yeah,
you're
to
saying.
say, well, your tight tank's big enough for 2 bedrooms, we'll let you have it, and then somebody comes in, well, I'll put a bigger tight tank in, now I want 2 or 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms.
All I'm trying to do is
Because-
have it reflect what the house is.
Yeah.
That's, I'm not trying to add anything or,
Yeah,
I understand your point.
and as
though.
long as the addition was put on legally, then you have a point, and it sounds like it was, because it was so long ago, and, you know,
So,
I
Jeff,
actually found
Jeff, how
it.
did you figure out that that it wasn't
What?
a one, there wasn't a 2-bedroom, there was one?
We found it out when we were going through the permit process. I put an addition on my house last
It
year.
got brought up in our
Meeting.
meeting, and we were like,
We looked at each other, me and my wife looked
we
at
looked at each other like, what are they
What's going on
talking
here?
about? And they're
Okay,
like,
so was it that zoning
they're like,
meeting?
Yeah.
that has to do with the Board of Health.
yeah.
Don't say nothing. I go,
Like,
that
all
can't
right,
be
I guess we'll
good.
go talk to the Board of Health then.
And then, so we're here now.
So if we're saying it was pre-existing, I mean, yeah, you know, even if that compromise was made then because they weren't allowed, now they are allowed. So if we all believe that it was really a 2-bedroom at that time, then we would have allowed it now, so we should go back and allow it
Yeah.
retroactively.
I'm okay with it, for that same reason. You know, it
yeah,
was,
I think I'm with
Yeah.
this. I don't
The
think it
way
changes
everything's
anything.
fallen
You're not
down.
adding, we're not letting them build new.
Yeah.
I'm with you, if somebody comes in with a 2 and said, I'm gonna put tight tanks, I want 4 bedrooms now.
That's a different ballgame.
That's a
Yeah.
different. I mean,
That's
this
apples
was
and oranges.
Pre-existing too, and for some reason, I think Darren might have hit it, the board
So-
just said,
Yeah.
we don't allow them. I knew they didn't allow them when they fought against them. That's why I didn't even know they had allowed any.
Yeah.
This is the first one I knew they had
And that
allowed.
makes sense, instead of, because that happened to, the guy next to me when I had my cottage in the Hemlocks. He could have put a septic in like I did, but it was way more money, so they restricted him and they let him put a tight tank, because he would have had to tear his whole house up. And that's probably what happened there, because it wasn't legal then to let them do it.
Against it.
And then when I put my septic in, they were like, well, why are you letting them have year round? It's like, because I'm putting a septic system in, and they're like, and then when we researched his lot, that's how I found out about it. Well, they said, well, we just use it seasonally, we don't want to spend all the money, because it wasn't cheap to put them in down there. Like Darren said, probably 30 grand. You probably designed that one, so you know what I'm talking about.
I actually looked at a system, it's 45, 50, now might even be up to 60.
Oh, yeah.
I know when my family put them in, it was $10,000 when I was a
Yeah,
kid.
he'd be looking at each bottom of the
Bottom
sand.
of the sand.
Because, yeah, you'd be looking at advanced treatment.
Yeah, 'cause there's two of them right
Where your
behind it.
proximity to the water and
The house.
wetlands and
You have
stuff.
to put a sprayer system in, it just,
Churchill?
my system works, functions
Oh,
perfect.
yeah.
It's house right next to it.
Oh, all right.
So you know that it's.
Yeah, so I did that first one behind you. The first bottomless sand filter that we put on the
Yes.
house when we built that house.
Yeah, I know, I know.
I built that years ago.
I know, I was there when you built it.
Yeah,
So you still, that's the house right next to it.
yeah, so yeah, you'd end up having to do that, which is, yeah, probably over 50 grand now.
Oh, I know, but my system works fine, so I mean.
Yeah, it's a steel tight, it's the best system
Yeah.
there is, in my opinion. That's why I was for allowing it
Yeah.
around him.
My wife works at home and then we still 6 times a year, which is normal.
You will probably, you want your deed to be changed. I don't know, do we have to sign off on the deed thing for
We
that?
probably gotta vote and change it to a 2-bedroom deed restriction. then.
We're gonna vote, but then you're gonna have your deed changed to reflect that. I don't know, do we?
Yeah, how does
Is there
that
anything-
work?
We'll have to sign that after the lawyer drafts it.
Yeah.
We used to have the petitioner have a lawyer draft it and we'd review it or send it to Copeland and Page and have them review it and then we'd sign off on it. But I don't know if they're still doing it that way or not. We haven't done a deed restriction in years.
Any idea on that one, Ed?
Yeah, you will have to have it recorded and everything, but I don't know
Yeah,
if you have.
yeah, before it's legal, it has to get recorded, but somebody has to draft it first. I don't think we drafted them, did
We,
we?
we do have one like for other ones that are like, say, existing 2-bedroom, and we're just holding you to the 2-bedroom.
Okay.
And that's a pretty standard form.
Yeah, but I don't know that I've ever taken one off before though, so we're gonna have to either take his off and give him a new one or change it.
Right.
Well, I think, I was curious, not so much, because I know the newer ones, we have the standard form that they
Yeah.
take care of, but I know because we're changing it, where we had to, I
Oh,
didn't know
yeah,
if we- I didn't know if we had to sign
No, there's
off on
something we
it.
have to do to have it removed.
Yeah.
The 1-bedroom, we
To alter.
just can't say, oh, now there's a 2. We
Yeah,
still
yeah.
have to take the 1 off or that'll be on the deed forever.
I can look into that though, but I mean,
Yeah.
you make the decision and then, well, we'll look into it later. I
Okay.
guess.
And I'll get in touch with you, you can get in touch with me. Now, how long a process would that be, a while or?
It ain't gonna be next
anyways.
week.
I know that. I'm not asking, but I don't want 3 years from now, hey, we haven't done it yet, you know.
Oh, no, couple of months probably.
Okay.
I mean, it might take them a couple of weeks to figure out and then it'll have to
That's
come
how we
back to
deal
one
with
of
the
our
permit
meetings.
process.
If we
It's the
need to
same
vote
deal.
on it or sign anything, it'll come back again and we'll have to do
A few
that.
weeks later I had it, so
Yeah.
same deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to know.
Any comments?
I'm good.
And I'll make a motion, we remove the 1-bedroom deed restriction at 15 Morrison and allow a 2-bedroom deed restriction, as long as the tight tank, remains on a tight tank and it remains in compliance.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Good night.
we'll reach out to you,
Yeah,
and we'll figure out how to get that. All right.
no problem, guys, have a
Thank
good
you.
night. You too.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, 55 Long Point Road. It worked out good for you, Darren was here.
What are the odds of that? I know.
Next time you see him at the back nine, buy him a beer, 'cause he's old.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll continue in discussion from February 16, 2022. Meet with Foresight Engineering to discuss variance requested. Darren, I'll turn it over
How
to
we
you.
doing? Darren McHale from Foresight Engineering. So as discussed at the last meeting, the board requested that we move the septic system outside of the 400 foot. So we have done that. Also the reserve area, created just a makeshift easement temporarily. The Land Surveyor Madigan will firm that up with land court documents and everything and actual bearings and distances on the plan. But this is what we're proposing. Septic tank where we showed it previously, followed by a pump tank. About 300 feet of force main to get through the woods, the trail that they made to do the perk test. Tree clearing shouldn't be too bad where the septic is, only about 4 or 5 big trees there. That's about it. It's an in-ground system,
The
pretty
field's outside
standard.
for.
Okay. Just a couple of notes on it. You are showing the reserve inside the 400, so we probably.
I have one there also, but I have one in the back also.
Right, so that reserve probably needs to be probably removed from there for the plan and put.
Well, it would be,
on.
it would be allowed for a reserve.
So you'd have two reserves?
So, well, if I came back and it failed tomorrow, you'd let me put a system right there if I could.
Outside
because
the
it's-
400, correct?
Well, no, not as a repair, then I can go to within the 200. So both areas are available because we did test there. So I'm basically just showing there's another reserve area possible because we did a test there. Not that the board would ever grant it, but it is available and it is
Right.
allowable by the code again. So I don't want to not show it. I can remove the test bits if you want those removed too.
You
but-
can show the test pits, there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, the fact that you have one labeled
It just
reserve
didn't label
area
the
and the
other
other
one,
one's not even labeled as that is kind of confusing.
All right, I can
Let's say
remove that then. That's not a
5 years
problem.
from now,
Yeah.
or whatever.
I would just like the reserve. I understand
Yeah.
what you're
I
trying to
hope it's
do,
not
but
5 years.
I'll take it
I think with
off.
us trying to get it outside 400, the
Yep.
reserve should be outside the 400.
No problem. I'll just revise the plan.
These-
and
You know, I
label
mean,
it.
I understand the reserve, I know.
Yeah.
Because that last hearing is exactly what happens
I-
10 years later when nobody remembers why they.
Yep,
did that.
and why we did it.
I would
No
really like
problem.
them both outside to say they're both
Yep.
outside 400.
I'll just label it, that's all, I just didn't label that one.
You know, in the future, if somebody wants to perk in there or go back and say, hey, I want to go in here.
Yep, because I don't want to pump it out there, that's
Because
fine.
they want to get rid of that pump system and.
Yep.
You know, it's
Yeah,
not
that'd be the
costing
only
anything,
advantage,
it's
yeah.
just-
Yep,
Yeah, and then there's the one note on the tanks. Dude, Ed, you want to speak to that note you'd sent me? Do we need to, it says septic tank and pump tank to be outside the 200, but not.
That is the old one.
Do you think,
Yeah, normally you do one for the septic and one for the pump.
okay,
So you're asking for 2 waivers, you try to combine them, which,
Okay.
you know, makes sense, but just for official reasons.
yep, I'll just add another waiver, that's no
you
problem.
want one for each tank?
Yep, one for the septic, one for the
He doesn't
pump.
want them combined?
Yep,
And we don't actually have a distance, it just says outside 200.
I can give the
Do
actual
we need a
distances.
distance?
You could say a 200-foot minimum, and that's
That's what he
about
has,
210.
yeah, happy with that?
Yeah, so if it goes 205, it's still credible, but not less than.
Yeah,
200.
not less than 200.
Yeah, because basically what we did at the last meeting is, because it was just anybody watching, or previous people that might not like what we do, that had a privy on it, DEP allows us to count that. So even if that had hardly any flow on that lot, if we could count any flow, we've since removed, by moving the field outside of it, we're cutting out all flow. So the only chance of any contamination on that would be if one of those tanks leaked. And I brought up to Ed, maybe just say, well, let's put monolithic in and then we know they're gonna be there until I'm in the ground, but he didn't think it was necessary and I usually defer to him on those type of things, so.
Pretty sandy soil, so I think they have a good foundation,
Yeah,
less chance of cracking.
And again, on that point, I did think the same, but seeing this, you know, we are allowing the tanks in the zone A, but they are also almost 20 feet above high water table of pond.
yeah.
So, and if these tanks were in the water table at all,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be in agreement
Yep.
with doing this.
Yep, I would agree
My
with that.
reasoning is that these tanks are 20 feet above and
Yeah, I think we're meeting the codes.
there's no,
Well, again,
one stage at 57, the bottom of this tank's at 73.
Right.
well, again, if the privy had any flow, I don't care if it's a gallon a day, if the privy had any flow counted, in theory, we've made it less because there's no flow going into the 400.
Right.
But, so all that's in there is a tank, and as long as the tank doesn't leak or fail, then we've made it better.
Right,
And
it's certified
DEP allows us to
watertight.
count that. So, you know, that gives us, the old saying I've said to 100 people, give me something to hang my hat on, and I will work with you, and that's all I needed, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm just glad we could get them outside the
Yep,
400.
me too. I'm glad we had the area and they already had perked it, so it was great.
That was my only.
So what do we gotta do, add a deed restriction and take off the,
Yeah, just revise the plan.
reserve area?
no.
Yep.
You can leave the perk there, just. don't
Yeah,
throw
I'll
it.
just take that reserve area square off. I'll label the other one. I'll put the second waiver on for you. And then you can do the deed restriction as added if you want.
And the deed restriction is 3-bedroom, no increase in flow, is that what we're talking about? Because it's in a zone A?
Yep, and I did under 4 bedrooms on purpose, so.
You got anything, Chris?
Any other discussion, anybody?
No, I mean, we discussed most of it last time, and this
Yeah.
takes care of all the stuff we were hoping for.
You wanna make one?
I'll make a motion, we approve the septic system design at 55 Long Point Road with, two variances and a deed restriction to 3 bedrooms. And is there one more thing?
Remove the reserve area.
Or remove the, yeah, and then make the drafting notes of removing the reserve area from
Inside the farm.
inside the 400 foot.
No problem.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you.
Unless anybody has a problem, I'll make a motion that we appoint Jared Dowling, the Inspector of Animals, for May 1, 2022 to April 30, 2023.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I didn't even get to read it. That was nomination of the animals.
Way too long, man.
He's trying to make up for lost time from the first.
I don't want to be the chair anymore, because I did it for all those years, but I just like running the meeting sometimes when you guys start dragging, so.
Review and approve meeting minutes as typed. We don't have any, I believe, right?
Nope.
So I don't know why that's gone out of there. Old business, we'll just go down to Ed. Any pending items?
No, old business or new business, and, the only, is it announcements as well?
Yeah, the Rabies Clinic.
Yeah, we're gonna be holding a rabies clinic on, April 9th, on Saturday, at the Highway Barn, that's at the corner of Montgomery and, Precinct. So if you do have if you do have a pet that doesn't have it, you can bring it down there. There is a small fee, but I think it's $10 per animal.
Okay.
I'd just like to add to that this information is on the town website. And then also, once again, you can sign up for email updates for anything new information coming out from the town. You'll get an email, like I got the email that the rabies clinic was coming on, town elections stuff. You can do that when you go to the town website also, so you'll always be reminded of any of these things.
Okay.
Okay, and COVID update? Ed, we wanna
Yeah,
go on for that? See what we're doing?
COVID cases are very low right now. We're still getting some, but there's obviously more out there than it's getting reported right now because of the, so much at-home testing. So they're still out there, but like I said, it's a lot lower. The cases are looking very good. And that's why a lot of the restrictions have been dropped, because of that. But overall, there are, like I said, it is still out there, so it takes some precautions. And also the Lakeville Board of Health does have take-home tests. If you do need them, you can contact the Lakeville Board of Health and we can give you 2 per residence. So if you show proof of residence, we can give you 2 take-home tests, which are actually 4 tests, but there's 2 kits.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I figured. Once the state sent out everybody a test, right? If you're gonna test yourself, you're not gonna go get tested. So
Correct.
I was watching hospitalizations and deaths, but I don't even know that those are being reported anymore. I'm having a hard time finding that information now.
Yeah, no, they are still, the deaths are still higher than, I mean, the deaths lag a lot. So the people who are dying now probably got it about 6 to 8 weeks ago.
Okay.
So it's still the deaths high. I think the average is it's over 10 deaths per day in Massachusetts.
Okay.
So it is still considerable, and that will come down. Like I think last summer there was about 1 death per day.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's lingering from the last surge. The deaths are the last to come down, but the hospitalizations have dropped a lot as well. So they have come down. So first the cases dropped, then the hospitalizations, then the deaths.
Okay. Well, let's hope this is the end of it.
Fingers crossed that the other one doesn't make it here.
It's already here.
Oh, yeah,
Good.
Ed might wanna.
Yeah, the Omicron,
B2.
the BA2. So right now, in Massachusetts, it's probably about 35% of new cases are the Omicron BA2, which is more transmissible than the BA1. The BA1 is what swept through during Christmas and New Year's and really did a number on everyone. But because BA2 is so similar to BA1, if you got BA1, you're probably not going to get BA2 within at least 90 days. So you do have protection there. But it is BA2, you may have heard in the news, it is hitting other countries harder because, you know, Massachusetts got hit pretty hard just 2 months ago. We still have some protection, but eventually that will wane and then we'll have, we'll be at risk for a new variant. But for the moment, we're in pretty good shape.
I'm no scientist, but we gotta, if there's such a thing as herd immunity, we gotta be getting there, because almost every single person I know that didn't get vaccinated caught COVID since the holidays. So you take out all the vaccinated people, all the people that got COVID over the last year or two. I'm not like a commercial to go out and, you know, go out tomorrow night in a big club and drinking, but if there's such a thing, we have to be getting there. I mean, we gotta be at around 70% by now.
They say over about half the people have got COVID.
Yeah.
And that other half, most of those are vaccinated. There is such a thing as immunity, but like I said, it doesn't last forever. I think that's what a lot of people have trouble distinguishing. A lot of people who got COVID back in December and January, it wasn't their first time getting COVID.
Yeah.
They'd had it before. They had whether it was the Delta wave or the Alpha wave or the original wave, they had it before, and that will happen again. Like I said, we're in good shape right now because we do have a lot of immunity out there from it because it's been within 90 days.
Yeah.
But like I said, the immunity lasts about 90 days, depending on your case. If you get a really serious case, maybe you get 120 days or longer. But like for a mild case, the minimum is 90. So now, fortunately, we're going into the summer where there's less of it anyway. So we're hopefully it won't be a big spike. But next fall, there's a lot of concern that, you know, because so many people, because the Omicron BA2 is so transmissible, it's passing through a lot of countries right now, and obviously it's gonna mutate.
Yeah.
Whether it mutates into something worse, more transmissible, less transmissible, we don't know. But there is that risk that come next fall, we're gonna run into it again. With the last one, it checked all the boxes. It was more transmissible, it was able to evade vaccines, and it hit at the perfect time, just before the holidays of Christmas and New Year's in the winter months. So when it hits, when you get a new variant hitting at that time, that's what it does. As you said, it gets almost everyone who's not vaccinated. And like I said, fortunately, a lot of people had just gotten their booster, so they're in good shape. But even the boosters are gonna wear out at some point, you know, so, you know.
Oh yeah, the guy from Pfizer was on an interview this weekend and he said that they're already working on, they know we're gonna need a 4th dose, but they're trying to make this dose broader to cover more of the variants. So that's why they're not advising 4th doses yet. They're trying to, before the fall, have something that's gonna cover a more broad, a bunch more variants instead of just getting another one of the one we've all got already, so.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it's gonna be. It's like you can get a booster every fall, or you can get COVID every year.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they combine it with a flu shot.
They were talking about it. Cause
I
it's
mean,
saying
this past
how,
fall, they were suggesting you can get your booster and your flu shot at the same time.
Yeah, we're giving them the same.
I did, yeah,
Yeah, I know a couple people that did.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, there's no ill effect in doing that. They say do it in a different arm, but other than that, there's really no ill effects.
All right, well, let's all pray tonight that this is almost over.
Again, I believe they extended the mask mandate on transit till April 18th. Am I correct on that?
Public transportation.
Public transportation,
Yeah.
airplanes
but
through the government for 1 more month. And
the
everything
mask
else.
stuff's gone in government offices. If you,
Right.
depending on your county, if your county's low or medium risk, no mask, but high, so I don't have to wear one at work now. It's great.
I know most places have
Yeah.
dropped the
Yeah.
mask, so.
Well, we had to do it like a week or two longer than everyone else
Yeah.
did.
Okay. All right, I have nothing else.
Me either.
Nothing?
No, I'm good.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, guys.